Start this off, staring at a blank page, an open office document, a blinking cursor, passing days without a single word. Some say it's absurd, like I float along a stream of words unsaid, choosing not to cast my net. But I spent so long questioning myself. If this isn't right, then does that mean I failed? Will my melodies ever live up? Will my metaphors be profound enough? Will I ever outdo myself? The ceiling gets higher and higher, it's harder and harder to shatter. And when I fall worse than I ever did before. Evaluating the damage, no, I just don't understand it. Conflicted by the very air I breathe, a love with hatred race between. You can see it in my eyes, the shadows spark light up the night. Constant search for approval, suffocated by refusal, devouring my skull, but never feeling full. Oh dear, I don't wanna be a burden, but could you please be a little more concerned with the overactive mind? Never believe but the toxic thoughts of an overachiever. Oh dear, if only you could feel it, the cryptic fear of being deserted. You can't touch the heat of this fever, the toxic thoughts of an overachiever. Start this off a little confused. Writer's block doesn't exist. It's not a word I'm supposed to use because it's all in my mind. A parasite I'm supposed to find, but sometimes, well, most times it's so hard to define. So I pour a couple drinks, getting drunk on gasoline. Fire pulses in my veins. I'm sick of waiting for the day that courage overtakes my brain. For someone to say it's okay. I've lived my whole life afraid. It's time for me to be brave, to embrace a forest that's so dark and unknown, because no great adventurer has a paved path to roam. They pave as they go, disappointed faces leaving poison breadcrumb traces. I'm not taking the bait, let them rot in their place. I deserve to be alright, I deserve to sleep at night. I'm my closest friend, I remind myself again that I treat her well, cause she's with me till the end. Oh dear, I don't wanna be a burden, but could you please be a little more concerned with the overactive mind? Never believe but the toxic thoughts of an overachiever. Oh dear, if only you could feel it, the cryptic fear of being deserted. You can't touch the heat of this fever, the toxic thoughts of an overachiever. Sometimes I forget the feeling of every single nerve tingling better than any lover's touch. I've created tears of pain and burns of lust. I've created a forest, a safe place for myself that others have found. Some attempt to destroy and others feed the ground. I fertilize my mind with melodies and rhymes. A sorcerer of time, take you back to the night when you pondered your death. When somebody left, when you lie awake broken because your head is unkept. And let me remind you that everything is temporary. You and I are temporary, and this feeling that's so scary. Someday you'll realize that thoughts so heavy don't mean you're unsteady, but that you're only getting ready to say nice to meet you to somebody you never knew. You. I start this off, staring at a blank page, an open office document, a blinking cursor, passing days without a single word. Some say it's absurd, like I float along a stream of words unsaid, choosing not to cast my net. But I spent so long questioning myself. If this isn't right, then does that mean I failed? Will my melodies ever live up? Will my metaphors be profound enough? Will I ever outdo myself? The ceiling gets higher and higher, it's harder and harder to shatter. And when I fall worse than I ever did before. Evaluating the damage, no, I just don't understand it. Conflicted by the very air I breathe, a love with hatred race between. You can see it in my eyes, the shadows spark light up the night. Constant search for approval, suffocated by refusal, devouring my skull, but never feeling full. Oh dear, I don't wanna be a burden, but could you please be a little concerned with the overactive mind? Never believe but the toxic thoughts of an overachiever. Oh dear, if only you could feel it, the cryptic fear of being deserted. You can't touch the heat of this fever, the toxic thoughts of an overachiever. Start this off a little confused. Writer's block doesn't exist. It's not a word I'm supposed to use because it's all in my mind. A parasite I'm supposed to find, but sometimes, well, most times it's so hard to define. So I pour a couple drinks, getting drunk on gasoline. Fire pulses in my veins. I'm sick of waiting for the day that courage overtakes my brain. For someone to say it's okay. I've lived my whole life afraid. It's time for me to be brave, to embrace a forest that's so dark and unknown, because no great adventurer has a paved path to roam. They pave as they go, disappointed gazes leaving poison breadcrumb traces. I'm not taking the bait, let them rot in their place. I deserve to be alright, I deserve to sleep at night. I'm my closest friend, I remind myself again that I treat her well, cause she's with me till the end. Oh dear, I don't wanna be a burden, could you please be a little more concerned with the overactive mind of a believer, a toxic thoughts of an overachiever. Oh dear, if only you could feel it, the crippling fear of being deserted. You can't touch the heat of this fever, the toxic thoughts of an overachiever. Sometimes I forget the feeling of every single nerve tingling better than any lover's touch. I've created tears of pain and burns of lust. I've created a force, a safe place for myself that others have found. Some attempt to destroy and others feed the ground. I've fertilized my mind with melodies and rhymes. A sorcerer of time, take you back to the night when you pondered your death, when somebody left, when you lie awake broken because your head is unkept. And let me remind you that everything is temporary. You and I are temporary, and this feeling that's so scary. Someday you'll realize that thoughts so heavy don't mean you're unsteady, but that you're only getting ready to say nice to meet you to somebody you never knew. You. I start this off, staring at a blank page, an open office document, a blinking cursor passing days without a single word. Some say it's absurd, like I float along a stream of words unsaid, choosing not to cast my net. But I spent so long questioning myself. If this isn't right, then does that mean I failed? Will my melodies ever live up? Will my metaphors be profound enough? Will I ever outdo myself? The ceiling gets higher and higher, it's harder and harder to shatter. And when I fall worse than I ever did before. Evaluating the damage, no, I just don't understand it. Conflicted by the very air I breathe, a love with hatred race between. You can see it in my eyes, the chest spark light up the night. Constant search for approval, suffocate.